Hey guys, it's Hunt for Games, and Stormblood is almost here. The hype is palpable. I can feel it in my bones. And you're probably all as busy as me, trying to make sure you're all prepped for June 20th when it's released. To help that process along, I'm going to throw out my top 5 tips for prepping for Stormblood. So let's get right into it. So tip number 1, and this one is sort of backwards, but I wouldn't recommend spending your time gearing up like crazy for Stormblood. Now weapons are one thing, and I'll get down to that in a second, but gearing up at 60 can take a while, and we're on the countdown, baby! Stormblood approaches, here we go! Point is, if you're planning to fire off into Stormblood, you don't need to have the best gear possible at level 60. If the experience is anything like Heavensward, we'll be given some pretty amazing gear, at least comparatively, like right away by vendors for like 15k, or at least from early quest givers. Do less. Just do less. Do less. Up to you, because there's plenty of cool content at level 60 that I haven't even gotten to, because frankly I don't have the gear for it. And if you're trying to finish off all that stuff before Stormblood comes out, that's a whole different thing. And hell, you're going to at least need good enough gear to get through the Heavensward storyline. So, go for it. But there's some easy options at 60 to get enough to get by without grinding your way to the geared end-all gear. So that's what I recommend. Go for that stuff. Now, I did say besides weapons, and I mean that for 2 reasons. A, weapons have the single largest impact to your damage and effectiveness at killing all those exciting new mobs out of any piece of gear. And if there's anything that'll make your life easier in the harsh new lands of Alamigo, it's being able to burn those mobs to the ground. I mean, come on. Which leads us right into tip number 2. Get those special weapons ASAP. So probably one of the easier options is to get your Palace of the Dead weapon, a nice level I-235 weapon of your choosing to get you started off right at level 60. You earn this by getting 30 points in both sets of Aetherpool gear, stats unique to Palace of the Dead, and beating all the floors through level 50. Short version is, you start at level 1 on floor 1, and earn levels super fast as you progress through the floors with your team of 4, with like no gear that's relevant to the actual rest of the game. The team can consist of whatever you want, and or it's randomly selected by the game for you with like a party finder setup, and that's pretty much it. Your progress is saved after each 10 floors after beating the boss on that floor, and it's pretty unique. It's totally independent of your gear outside of the Palace of the Dead, and guess what? You get XP for each 10 floors you do, so it's like a win-win-win-win-win-win-win. And like I said, after 50, you should have enough points or really close to get yourself an awesome I-235 weapon, which is a great way to start level 60, and at the very least will set you up for Stormblood on its own. Hopefully there are going to be upgrade paths for that weapon as well, because I worked for it and I want it, and I want to upgrade it now in Stormblood, but we'll see. But that's why I also bring up the Anima weapons, the latest in a long line of relic weaponry upgrades. Each expansion, and sometimes like updates, have brought a new weapon upgrade tier, and being further along in the previous upgrade system gives you a leg up in the new one. Honestly, I haven't put any work into it since the original relic weapon, which I obtained through the quest. I never even upgraded that one. That's not really my thing, but if you've made some progress, now might be a good time to get as far as you can along in them. Obviously, because the more powerful the weapon is, the better when you're starting off the new expansion, but also it'll give you a good stepping stone in the long run for the next upgrade path at the end of Stormblood, so it's all good stuff. Warning, if you haven't started the Anima option, I'm pretty sure it takes like forever. But enough about all that gear nonsense, onto the fun stuff. So tip number 3. Jobs. A ton of new info was just released, namely a video by Square Enix with a ton of new abilities showcased, while sharing some of the UI changes that are coming for each job in Stormblood. I made another video going over exactly how excited I am about that, so I'm not going to repeat it here. Check it out though. I'm like super pumped. But I will say, damn, the new abilities look really cool. I mean, for everybody, not just like one job, all the jobs. You know when you watch a trailer and you're like, oh man, I'm glad I don't have to level any of those because that looks super boring. None of those abilities are interesting at all. I mean, I can't even tell what they're doing. Not this time. Everybody looks super badass. Everything they're doing looks super badass. They even made Scholar look cool. Scholar heals people with books and a floating fairy. I mean, I love the job. But how do you make that look cool? 2 words. Minority Port. Check out the video. I'm serious. Check it out. Seriously, in the trailer, both Scholar and Machinist have this awesome, like, screen. I know the knowledge. Where I'm going with this is that you may have to actually think pretty long and hard about the first job you want to level in the dangerous new zones of Stormblood. As all of your friends are off to the races in new areas, quests, and dungeons, you don't want to realize at like level 62 with Monk that you honestly probably should have just started with your warrior that's only 55 because it's way more fun. I'm always the guy where we get like halfway through the expansion, I'm like, can you guys just hold off a little bit? I think I'm going to change jobs. I'll catch up. Look into them, watch out for more news on the details of the job changes and the abilities, because we're still like kind of missing a few actual hard details. Keep an eye out for all that stuff leading up to launch and think about what you want to level. This is always especially hard for me because, you know, I change my job so often, and leading into a new expansion, you feel like you got to get one up the cap first before you can try out the other ones, and it's just like, Speaking of which, Palace of the Dead, which I just mentioned before, is a great option for leveling because you get essentially a preview of what level 60 is going to be like for your job, and in just a few runs of Palace of the Dead, by floor like 30 or 40, you're already 60. I know this sounds like an obvious thing to think about, but I've been there. I've been all set to level Ninja until I see a Dragoon pull off some shit that I didn't even know was in the game, and I'm like, I made a mistake. Also, I'm not telling you how to live your life, but we've got 2 new jobs being added with this expansion that look incredible. Red Mage and Samurai. They're both damage dealers. Wouldn't be a terrible time to think about checking out a tank or a healer if you've been wondering about leveling one recently. I mean, anybody who remembers the Great Ninja Influx of 2014 will attest to how useful it can be to level a tank or a healer in those hard times. So on to number 4, and this might seem like an obvious one, but I gotta mention it because it is in fact the biggest thing holding you back from straight up going to Alamigo on that boat or airship or train or raft we'll be riding. Does anyone know how we're getting there yet? Anyways, maybe that's story locked. I don't know yet. Point is, the main story quest. There have been plenty of additions to this. Additions I still haven't finished since Heavensward was released 2 years ago. 2 years ago! It has really been that long? That's crazy. I know this story one sounds obvious, but I guess it's the Final Fantasy XI days in me where I'm like, did everybody get the cutscene? Did everyone chat with the right people? Does everyone have the pop item? Are we good to go? Is everybody ready? Even if you're sitting there thinking you're sitting pretty, there's a chance there's still more for you to do that was recently added in the latest update. Possibly quite a lot. So take a look. See if there's anything you haven't wrapped up, and don't wait till the night before the game's coming out to do it. I get to see this all on launch day, and one guy's like, oh, I still have that one fight to do. I'm like, oh my god, there's like 8 quests after that fight. What are you talking about? Plus, I've actually enjoyed Heavensward's story a lot, so I think it'd be worth playing through. I say that in that particular fashion because they announced that Heavensward and the Realm Reborn story skips, purchasable skips, for those that want to get right into the new action and feel like there's not enough time or personally just don't have enough interest to go through all the necessary steps to finish up the stories. I mean, there's a lot there. I don't necessarily disagree with this because we're a significant time investment in now away from the level cap at this point at the start of Stormblood. And anybody that's been really hyped about Stormblood and wants to do it, there's a lot in between there. Also, the original Realm Reborn was a little lacking for a lot of it. I mean, I enjoyed it a lot, but looking back, it was kind of boring. So I get it. The skips aren't cheap, though, so if you're mostly the way through Heavensward anyway, don't do that. Just do it. You got time. Finish it up. Finally, last fun thing of note is number 5, housing. So with Stormblood comes a long-awaited increase to housing options in Final Fantasy XIV, now in a new area thematically tied to Stormblood. If you've desperately been searching for a plot for years, now's your chance to save up and join the Day 1 rush, which I have to assume is going to be absolutely insane. I don't think I can move my house. I think I'm stuck in the Limsalim into the mists, but I'm happy there. We have a beautiful life there. So the reason I mention it here is because the houses are still not cheap. It's still like a couple million gil for even the cheapest solo plot option. Definitely worth thinking about ahead of time. I wouldn't want to show up to be like, oh, housing, cool, I'll just save up a couple 100,000, and they're gone. They're all gone. Chances are they'll fly off the shelf like hotcakes, so if you want one, be ready immediately. Day 1. Launch window. It's going to be miserable. Anyways, guys, that's all I've got for prepping for Stormblood. A lot of it is based on my experiences with jumping into Heavensward and all the updates that have come out since. So if they totally switch things up on us this time around, I'm super sorry. But I doubt it, and a lot of this advice is pretty good no matter what. So I think we're okay. Let me know in the comments tips you think I missed and what job you're checking out in Stormblood. Are you going to check out one of the new ones? Existing? Tank? DPS? Healer? So many options. But keep checking back for more Stormblood news leading up to release and more videos like this. And let me know other Final Fantasy XIV videos you want to see. Otherwise, peace out, guys, and I'll see you next time. As always, guys, thanks for watching. If you haven't already, you should totally think about subscribing. I've got videos coming out twice a week, and if you like this one, there's at least a chance you'll like some of the others that are very similar to this, so live dangerously. Let me know what you guys thought about the video in the comments and other videos you'd like to see. And finally, follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Huntin for Games to keep up with all the latest stuff. See ya.